All right, welcome, ladies and gents, to our Roval coverage. Good to see you in here early, Warren. Skitch, Denny Hamlin fan. Denny Hamlin fan says, whoever has Hamlin winning on a road course is weird. Well, stranger things have happened. And Skitch says he thinks Kyle Busch is going to make a last lap pass to win. We'll see. Warren thinks SVG or Allmendinger. I mean, both good picks. Any free websites? If it's not on the TV app, then I don't know. The next 3 weeks, it's going to be on NBC, so all you'll need the next 3 weeks is an over-the-air antenna. Or any cable package that includes your local affiliates. That's old Busch in Gibbs equipment. I don't know what to expect from this version of Kyle in RCR equipment. Double A going pretty well. We're about to get this race underway. Coming around now to take the green flag. Tyler Reddick chose the outside. Oh, SVG into the side of Tyler Reddick. Put Tyler Reddick in the wall. Someone must have gotten in the back of him or he spun his tires. That was really odd. Skitch is 2 hours from Florida. Uh-oh. Wow. Skitch. Kyle Busch wrecked. He's done. Good job, Skitch. Good job. You jinxed him. Lap 1. Yeah, he's done unless a caution comes out right here. And even then, still probably done. All right. Man, yeah, Kyle was hit pretty hard. That's rough. Oh, Kyle Larson running P3, Ty Gibbs in 4th, Michael McDowell 6th, AJ Allmendinger 9th, Bubba Wallace, guy that'll probably be driving pretty angry today, 11th. Ryan Blaney seems to be there a lot at these Roval races, 12th. Chase Elliott 14th. Austin Cindric definitely in a win and you're in situation in 18th. Alex Bowman all the way down in 25th, our lowest running Hendrick driver. Yeah, 2 RCR cars. Very back of the back. How about that? Kyle Busch to the garage area. I love the turtles. Reddick has a half-second advantage on SVG right now. Have we found the one track SVG hasn't mastered? Or will he, you know, make adjustments to the car and figure this thing out, run away with it? We'll see. Connor Zilch kind of ran away with the race yesterday. SVG is close. He's threatening. Welcome, Doodlebug. Welcome. Skitch said they're stopping at the gas station to cry. That sucks. So, Skitch, are you on vacation? I was thinking about heading down to the beach as well. That's fun. That's fun. I guess it's maybe fall break. Random gas station in Alabama. Interesting. All right, SVG's keeping it really close. SVG to the high side. He's trying to attempt the pass here. Let's see if Reddick gives it up here. SVG to the lead. Well, he was AA. He was. He couldn't keep his pace in the backstretch chicane. SVG could. That's rough. Well, we had a good race for 3 laps. All right, look at our playoff bubble. Joey Logano, 7 points below the cut line. So if Reddick stays in the top 5 and Logano doesn't move up through the running order, I mean, that's a lot to happen. So Reddick needs stage points here. Or to go for the win. Because Joey's probably going to move up. I mean, he's not the greatest here. I mean, it's a lot to ask. Tyler Reddick to stay exactly where he is. And Joey Logano not to move up at all. All right, under commercial for the first time here. We are in a side-by-side. So keep an eye on the action. No movement towards the front. Allmendinger still 9th. Chase Elliott is up to 13th. William Byron continuing just to run mediocre. Austin Cindric 17th. Bowman 26th. Yeah, we'll see how AJ does. We'll keep an eye on him. Chase Elliott, William Byron down the position. They're pretty safe to make it through to the next round, but I mean, Chase got pretty lucky last week, and Byron lucked out and had a good points day at the very end. Good finish. But he just hasn't been running well. You're gonna put on your Intimidator shirt? Yeah, I may change my hat. I don't think I'll change to a Dale Senior hat. I may switch it to my red William Byron hat. It's just a little more lightweight. My head is itching with this headset on and the hat. Oh man, I lied. I said next week would be on NBC. That's not true. I forgot about Las Vegas existing. Because of Las Vegas, that'll be one more USA race. The last 3 races this season are on NBC. You don't wear hats because their head is big? Thankfully, I don't have that issue. But my dad has a whopper. So he usually has to find specially sized hats. They're going to Chicagoland next year. I don't see why they don't put all races on NBC. Well, I mean, I do. That's a lie. They know NASCAR is going to bring in at least like X amount of views. And so they put it on their weaker channel, the one that people have to buy an expensive cable package to get, USA. Even though on NBC, we get way more views. Yes, you need new hats, Denny Hamlin fan. I agree. All right, Kyle Larson getting around Tyler Reddick. Move Kyle Larson into P2. SVG's kind of pulling away with it right now. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Doodlebug. NBCSN. Welcome back. Maybe we get the Speed Channel back. Get full season points back. We're getting a horsepower increase, possibly. NBCSN is back. Let's go ahead and throw Speed Channel into the equation. That's not going to happen. Fox killed Speed Channel. intentionally so they could start FS1. I'm glad. I don't like NASCAR in USA. I mean, it's not any different than their NBC broadcast. It's just a channel that's not available everywhere. But the problem is, NBCSN's probably less available than USA, so we're running into the same issue. That's right. Now we just need to burn the next gen car, the Gen 7 car, I guess I should say. You're exactly right, Double A. I mean, I'll take anything I can get. But the rumor is, I think we're going from 670 to 740 to possibly 750. But I totally agree. The tires are too wide to make too much of a difference. It does have sports in its name. I'm wondering, you know, when NBCSN existed, we had shows like the Dale Jr. download. Well, now Dale Jr. is not affiliated with NBC, so I'm wondering, you know, will any of those, you know, NASCAR shows come back? Oof. Cindric ended up missing the chicane, had to end up stopping. Yes, that is right, Warren. That is right. And USA is going to be its own company. They're spinning it off. Jeff Gordon and Mike Joy back with Fox. Well, Mike hasn't left yet. Jeff, I don't see it. I think he's a little too involved with Hendrick. If Fox's coverage is going to suck, they should at least bring on different broadcasters, like have a guest broadcaster each week. Just somebody different in the booth. So, you know, put Alan Bestwick up there for a few races. I would move heaven and earth to get Alan Bestwick back in the booth. He was so good. They did do that. But I'm not just talking like a guest driver. I'm talking like an actual broadcaster. Someone that can do some play-by-play. Guest driver's fine, but yeah, adding a different broadcast voice to it would be an interesting element. And if one of them does really well and people like it, then maybe, you know, they get a full-time spot. Because someone's going to have to replace Mike Joy very soon. Father Time catches up to us all. Let Clint do play-by-play. That's a great idea. I mean, I would like Daryl, but Daryl, I'm sure is in retirement fully. He's deleted all his tweets. He's gone pretty silent on social media. I think he's bowed out of the spotlight. Now, if Daryl wants to come back here and there, especially like when we're racing in Tennessee, I would be open to that. Or around the area. Because I really enjoyed Daryl's commentary. I know people thought he was a little bit of a cornball, but I liked it. All right, we have some cars coming down to make their first pit stops. I saw it. Rip Robert Wickens. That's right. Very, very brutal crash, but you know, glad he at least survived and has been able to somewhat race with the hand controls. All right, SVG still out to a really healthy lead. 90.3s right now. Ross in the back running at 90.1. Is Ross Chastain secretly a threat here? What's happening? You know, watch our lap times. SVG has such an advantage. I'm not sure if he has to pit yet. I don't know what their fuel window is, but it's probably way longer than, 11 laps. Yeah, Pocono can be dangerous with the IndyCar. There have been a lot of bad wrecks there. And fatalities. I saw someone designed a prototype for a next-gen IndyCar, and it didn't have a rear wing. Had higher horsepower. It was crazy. IndyCar at Circuit of the Americas. I wish, IndyCar needs more races on the schedule. I think so. And they can't be taking many breaks. IndyCar last year had so many breaks on their schedule. They would just disappear for a month. It's like, what? It's hard to keep up the excitement for a season if you're taking off weeks at a time. So I wish they would partner with NASCAR more and, accompany NASCAR here and there. And, race at some SMI and ISC tracks. Imagine IndyCar at the Roval. It'd be crazy. Double A says penalty to the 42. That's rough. I don't know what that is, Skitch, and I'm afraid to ask. IndyCar at Homestead. I would just love to see him on the oval. That would be electric. Which, aren't they going to? I thought there was a rumor they were going to Homestead. The old Homestead would have been perfect for them. The flat Homestead. So next year we have Phoenix. I believe that'll be the same weekend as Cup, maybe? Arlington, that's a new one. Worldwide Technology Raceway, Nashville, Milwaukee Mile. So those are our ovals next year. After Nashville put on such a good race, I'm surprised, they didn't bring it back. Yeah, Arlington's not an oval. Arlington's just a new track. I'm very aware Arlington's not an oval. If they were going to race an oval in or around Arlington, they would just go to Texas Motor Speedway. Fontana dirt, yeah. Well, I mean, if they wanted to do it nowadays, half the track would be dirt. They just ripped it up and haven't done a single thing with it. Yeah, once upon a time, it seemed like Texas was aging into a good track, into a good IndyCar track, because they were having better and better races there each year, especially after NASCAR stopped using the PJ1. And then they just took it off the schedule. I think they had to. There was a conflict of dates with NASCAR or something. But I mean, they haven't made an effort to bring it back. Kentucky's not being used. IndyCar at Kentucky. Yes, it did, Skitch. Texas started to die, you know, obviously with the, you know, downturn of the sport's popularity, but also when they reconfigured the track. They should have kept it high banked on both sides. It's got all that room in 1 and 2, but you can really just run the bottom. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, Texas used to be pretty fun. Yeah, All-Star Race at Texas is wild. Javier says they need to eliminate Logano from contention. As they ran earlier, Logano was below the cut line, but I don't think it's going to stay that way. These guys are running 88s, coming off of a pit stop. 88 threes, so really close. I mean, really close to an 88 flat. So there's quite a bit of fall off on the tires over the course of like half a run. I'm not the biggest supporter of Sonoma. I wish they would go to Sonoma during the spring, during the West Coast tour, but the reasoning why they don't is it rains in the spring around that area, and a lot of the times the campgrounds will just be completely underwater, and they can't have that happen. Yeah, I'm not a huge Sonoma fan. Watkins Glen, love it. Absolutely love it. Four wide again. You know, we had four wide at least twice in yesterday's Xfinity race. Yeah, I went to Coda back when it was the long, you know, the full track. My goodness. The cautions would last like 30 minutes apiece. Random Larson fans there on the broadcast. My kid looked very intense. Broncos just scored a touchdown. I saw the Colts are up 20-3. Not sure if that was the final. No, apparently they've already put up 40 points. Jonathan Taylor getting 3 touchdowns. wild. This is your reminder, guys. If you are a member of the NASCAR Fan Rewards program, go ahead and head on to the app or the website and check in. Get those points. Some engineer from Tesla has been messaging me on LinkedIn about Grok, trying to get my thoughts on it. Like user experience survey or something. Interesting. They're trying to implement Grok into their cars. And they've apparently gotten some negative feedback. Interesting stuff. Anthony Richardson coming in. A 40-6 lead over the Raiders. Now, you know, Tom Brady is a minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders. So this is technically a win over Tom Brady. Do I have any IndyCar diecast? I do. I do. I have things stacked on top of them, so I'm not going to grab it. I think they're probably around, what, 1/24th scale? I think the Colts are pretty good this year. Almost beat the Rams. If they had beat the Rams, I would have been delusional levels of excited for this year. But if that's a bad game for Danny Dimes, like, the future is bright. St. Petersburg, Florida, or Russia? The one in Russia has more history to it. Be interesting to visit if, you know, we weren't really at odds with Russia right now. But St. Petersburg, Florida, you know, they put on a good race for IndyCar every year. And then I guess next year we'll have the trucks there. I'm waiting for one of the trucks to go through the fountain, just right through it. All right, coming back from commercial. Oh, that's Long Beach? Close enough. Now we're coming to the end of stage 1. Running 89s. We've kind of fallen off a second here. Yapped about Roblox steal a brain rot. I have not seen much about that game, but apparently it's a huge deal. And there's even a company that's touring with the characters, the AI generator character. Kind of wild stuff. Reddick has fallen back to 15th on these old tires. Busher 8th. They're coming down pit road now, it looks like. So they saved a set of tires, but at what cost? Long Beach or San Diego? I've heard really good things about San Diego, just in terms of the weather and just the laid-back atmosphere. I had a teacher that lived out there for a long time when he was with the Navy. Reddick also down. Bowman, Cole Custer, Bubba Wallace, John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Cindric, all coming down pit road. Been a very quiet stage 1 aside from Kyle Busch obliterating the wall. All right, pit road is closed. So SVG trying to win the stage, not necessarily flipping it. So the running order is very split up right now with 3 strategies, really. Guys that flipped the stage and already pit before, so 2 pit stops already. Guys that pit halfway through and are still running. And then we have the guys who stayed out to the very end and flipped the stage. So 3 very different strategies right now. That definitely shakes things up, and it's going to shake things up in terms of, you know, what lap each driver's on their tires. So that'll definitely encourage some passing, some shakeups throughout the field. SVG right now has a 7-second advantage over Kyle Larson. Crazy. This is really how the last 2 races have gone, though. The truck race and the Xfinity race. The leader kind of pulled ahead quite a bit. I'd probably go with Long Beach over Baltimore. If we're gonna do what, you know, if we're gonna consider Baltimore, might as well go ahead and put it in DC, like the rumors indicate. All right, SVG coming around to take the stage 1 victory. scoring 2 points. We'll have William Byron, 3 points. Chase Elliott. I guess the only non-playoff driver towards the front is Michael McDowell. We have a lot of guys that are eliminated up there, but I think only Gibbs falls into that category, right? Did Reddick flip the stage? Reddick did flip the stage. Reddick only pit once, so he saved a set of tires. Yeah, Ty Dillon, what's he doing up there? Yes, definitely a Ty Dillon W. I don't think it's supposed to even have a chance of rain, but let's go ahead and look at the weather. There's a 10% chance. Let's get a random rainstorm come through. What car is Justin Haley? I'm not sure. All right, another commercial again. We'll see what they do under this pit sequence. Seems like strategy is going to play a pretty big hand here in the running order, but I'm not sure anyone has anything for SVG right now. He's kind of cruising right now. SVG or Larson will win tonight. That's what Ross says. That's kind of so double A. That's kind of how I felt during a lot of these road course races. It looks like SVG just gets out front and just runs at a consistently fast pace, and not like even like he's pushing it. I don't think SVG's pushed it, you know, at all on the road courses. I just think he's running his own laps. Mr. Spaceman, good to see you, man. Ross, so Ross was running pretty fast laps earlier. I'm not sure if that was a fluke, just a one-off good lap or something, but it would be interesting to see. The Valvoline blood cancer car is pretty cool. They need to throw the Exalta Flame scheme back on there so he can start running better. Joey Logano haters. I saw a video though of Joey running laps at his own little road course. He has a go-kart track built at his house, and it looks really fun. It has alternate layouts. Very, very cool. Also saw him drifting his Mustang around it as well. Joey Logano's living the life I want to live. I'm so jealous. Imagine having a go-kart track with alternate layouts at your house. You met Logano in the 2016 championship? Yeah, I've heard he's good with the fans. I've heard really good things about him as a person. As a driver, that's a different story. But, I appreciate what he does for the sport. He makes a ton of appearances, tons of outreach. You were a Logano fan back then. What happened? All right. Our leaders are coming down pit road. Ross down, Christopher Bell, Shane Van Gisbergen. Looks like Byron's down as well. Hamlin, Logano. So a lot of our front runners coming down here. Huge Byron fan in 22 and Logano wrecked him for the win. Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, that happened. I really wanted him to win in that scheme, too. Ross got off of pit road well. But he misses the turnoff of pit road. This may lose Ross a ton of track position. That is so odd from Ross Chastain. What a weird move. I mean, I guess he was just trying to, get off of pit road and save positions. But I mean, at what cost? That was very odd. Over under commercial again. When we come back, we should be going back to green shortly. To start stage 2. Rack 'em and stack 'em. Let's take a look at our running order here. Let's see if it's updated. I'm not sure this one's up to date here. Right now they have AJ scored first, Chris Buescher second, Ryan Blaney third, fourth Daniel Suarez fifth, Alex Bowman sixth, Tyler Reddick seventh, Cole Custer eighth, Bubba Wallace ninth, John Hunter Nemechek, and 10th Austin Cindric. All right then. All right, back from commercial. Let's get this thing going. All right, so what are they going to decide on Ross here? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 positions. So they're going to make Ross restart way back in the pack. Man, that is wild. So where is Ross going to restart? Yes, AJ is leading currently. He's on older tires. I think he's one of the guys that flipped the stage and pit twice in that first stage. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was considering, you know, what if someone got DQ'd? It happened to Alex Bowman. It can happen to anyone. All right, here we go. Coming back to green. All right, AJ, good start. 2011? That's OG status? Interesting. Interesting. I guess nowadays, maybe. So SVG back in 8th. We'll see how long it takes him to get to the lead. I'm going to say maybe 8 laps. Ross says his first NASCAR race he watched on TV was the 2001 Daytona 500. That's rough. Good to see you, Jason. We're doing pretty well. We are 3 wide through the chicane. A lot of Toyotas fighting with each other. You know, nothing new. First race you've been to in person was the 2014 championship. Interesting. Interesting, Ross. I like that part of the country. I like the east coast of Florida. Cocoa Beach, Melbourne, Titusville. Like it a lot. I would like to live there. No. He lives in Florida, not Florida. There's a difference. All right, Kyle Larson has locked himself into the next round. So Blaney's locked in, Elliott's locked in, Larson is locked in. And as they run, Logano's 10 points above the cut line, and Reddick is 10 points below the cut line. So one guy has a mistake. I mean, it's still close towards the cut line. SVG's already up to 6th. They've gapped SVG here for a little bit. He's still running, you know, competitive laps back there through the field. Double A says Bell should be locked in after the next stage. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if they would play that intentionally. You know, not flip the stage, step for stage points, and make sure they get locked in. I don't know if Logano's going to miss. But, you know, he's close to passing Briscoe in terms of points. It would be karma for last year if Joey Logano DQ'd here. Jason said his first was the 1995 Brickyard 400. That's a good one. That's a really good one. Was it Senior that won that one? I think that was maybe the second Brickyard. Somewhere around there. And your first was the Hooters 500, 1992. That's a big one too. Jordan says AJ beats SVG. We'll see. I mean, he just ran at 87. Oh my goodness. Austin Cindric around. Oh no, he's gonna miss the playoffs. No impact there. That has no implication. Totally broken on Austin Cindric's car. Hocevar got in there too deep and just murdered Austin Cindric right in front of Denny Hamlin. Yeah, there are no playoff implications there. Absolutely zero. Cindric was not going to win this race. Jeff Burton's trying to be a traffic cop. He's saying, oh, Carson Hocevar didn't stop. He's slowed down more than enough time. It's not about stopping. It's about giving up time. Even though you're supposed to stop. From that camera angle, it looked a lot worse. He definitely kept rolling. Jason said the fiance and Jason are going to eat some grilled chicken nuggets that you got at Myers. Interesting. I've only been to a Meijer a few times. They don't exist in my area, so whenever I travel through an area with a different store, Menards, you know, something like that, I always stop by and just check it out, see what the differences are. I really like Menards, but Meijer was pretty nice too. It was all right. Cindric and Hocevar limping down pit road. Ross says he's watching a multi-view. Very nice. Jason said it's Tyson. Tyson, they make a ton of chicken. Or I guess they sell a lot of chicken. They're not necessarily making the chickens. Jason said Austin Cindric's gonna be like his father and unemployed. That's rough. I mean, his teammates are doing great, you know. Well, Let's step back from great. They're doing very well. Logano and Blaney, you know, winning usually multiple races a season, competing for a championship, and Cindric isn't. You know, same equipment, presumably. So what's the difference here? Weaker link for their team, Cindric or Bowman? I would say Cindric. He just consistently runs bad. At least Bowman has an upside. You know, Bowman every once in a while will get up there and have actual pace. I'm very glad, Jason. Good bounce back win after the close loss to the Rams. Ross is running good laps, you know, for being back in the pack. 89.5. That's faster than everyone up to Byron. It's not too bad. Doodlebug says an IndyCar return to Michigan would be cool. I agree. Jordan Kirby says bring willpower to NASCAR. That's a great idea. That's just a, you know, willpower has one of the greatest racing names. SVG not. Yeah, I thought he would get back to the lead in, I said 8 laps, but that has not happened. I mean, he hasn't really made much progress either. He jumped up from like 8th to 6th and has kind of stalled out here. Ross says host of our blocked Elliott. I guess on pit exit. Interesting. Yes, willpower to the 2. I think power is just done with Penske. Yes, I mean, I know Chase Elliott's not on pit road, but I'm saying Hocevar would have been coming out of Hocevar would have been coming out of pit road, I'm guessing. I can't see it, so. I have to change this shirt. We're gonna change the shirt and the hat. So you guys said Mick Schumacher's gonna have an IndyCar test? I did not hear that. been motorsports? I have not, I don't think. Now he's 68. You lied to me, Ross. I've been lied to. I've been deceived. So Chastain's 11 below the cut line. But Ross is in 20th. So if Ross can at least finish in the top 10, he may point his way in. Well, Logano may move up as well. So hard to say what's going to happen here. Let's see. Is Ross flying? Is that true? Up to 20th. He's running 89.9s. So 2 tenths faster than Stenhouse. Several tenths faster than... Yeah, everyone up to 9th. So it seems like he's running with 10th place, not 10th place, top 10 speed. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, he is going pretty fast for where he is in the pack. Because, the further back you go, you're racing around slower cars, so it can definitely slow down your lap times. But it seems like he's doing pretty well back there. Up to 16th now, because guys are starting pit stops. Let's keep our eye on Logano as well. Logano's on pit road. Yes, caution Hocevar. I'm jealous of the go-karting courses that they have over, throughout Europe. Very nice complexes they have. We have a few like it here in the United States, just not as widespread. There's a really nice one down near New Orleans. So Chastain, as they run, 9 points above the cut line. Logano 9 below, but that's just because of the pit cycle. Yes, I saw you said that, Doodlebug. I saw you said that. All right, Buescher's pressuring here for the lead. And SVG is moved up to third. About a second and a half back here. These two battling is going to bring SVG into the conversation. I think he's just chilling. Yeah, Buescher's pretty good. And he's been consistent, throughout the last few years, being, successful or having good pace in these courses. Look at that SVG closing in. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. SVG is just so much better at cornering. Getting in, getting off the corner. Chastain up to 12th here. Running 95. No, he ran a 90. Yeah, 95 on the last lap. So he has faster cars behind him. And he hasn't pit yet, so it's rough. I mean, even if SVG can figure out ovals, is he going to be, you know, competitive each week? Especially if we go back to a points-long season format, he's done. Ross says he's going to use the steering wheel and become SVG. Good luck with that. All right, AJ stayed out one extra lap there. Interesting call there. So SVG back to the lead. He's from New Zealand, not Australian. No matter how many times the announcers say he's from Australia, he's not from Australia. So Larson running third. Larson's, you know, been up there. Definitely decent pace. McDowell as well. Chastain 11th now that AJ's pit. All right, Larson trying to make the pass on Buescher here. Move Larson into second place. Larson able to sneak by to his inside going into that front stretch chicane. And then on the outside going into one, able to clear. So AJ's fallen back to at least 15th. Logano running 23rd currently. Chase Elliott back in 19th. These pit strategies are all over the place. I have not found them yet. I had a chance. I actually went to Walmart, but I just forgot to check. I went to Target and looked. I didn't see them there, so I did read some reviews on it though. After you mentioned it, I looked it up and I read some reviews. I watched a video and someone trying it. How far back is Larson? 3 seconds right now. I know like Larson was passing, but look at that gap. 89.5, 91.1. So the next lap when they come back by, we'll see what those lap times are. SVG ran a 90 second lap that time by. Larson scored with a 91.2. And the gap is increased a full second. Yeah, I don't think Larson's running him down. It's been a very quiet race so far. This is going to make our race recap very short. It definitely does. It doesn't help it rhymes with STD. All right, Ross trying to go to the outside. Get around Byron here. Okay, my stream just froze. It froze on both. It froze on my MacBook and my PC. What's USA doing here? Really weird. What are you doing, USA? They've had the race cut out like 2 weeks in a row now. And there it just froze, but still odd. Get this. Showing, what, 7 drivers on screen right now? I like this view. Oh, you could definitely make some money with that, Jason. So if anyone in the top 10 flips this stage, if Ross stays out, he might be able to score top 10. That's what they're talking about on the broadcast. They're really saying Chastain could possibly, you know, save his playoff chances here in this one stage. Larson back 6 seconds. SVG is clearly the class of the field. Took him a while to get through the traffic, but I think he was just saving his stuff. Running just as fast as they needed to. And like, especially at places like Sonoma, it seems like guys have been able to stay with SVG on the short run, but his speed just takes over. His tire saving just takes over. That's quite a bit of voices, Jason. It'd be interesting to see who comes down if anyone wants to flip this stage. Right now, Ross in 12th. Three seconds, or really 2 seconds behind Justin Haley. So he needs to get around him. And maybe someone up in the top 10 will pit here. Yeah, this will be the longest run of the weekend in terms of the Roval. Our last 2 races were both 67 laps, and this one is 109 laps, so quite a bit longer. 250 miles compared to 400. They're probably not doing... Are they doing miles or are they doing kilometers? How long is this race? It's probably kilometers, right? Yes, 407 kilometers, 252 miles. That is right. It's kind of odd how some NASCAR races are measured in miles in terms of the name Daytona 500. But then, you know, we'll have random races where they're measured in kilometers so they can get a nice round number. Double A says this last stage will be almost as long as the whole truck and Xfinity race. Well, we are going to run quite a few laps under caution. But yeah, I mean, you're right. It'll be pretty close, especially with all the caution laps that they ran in the Xfinity and truck race. Like, I think you're probably exactly right. It's been a very clean race so far, outside of Kyle Busch hitting the wall and Hocevar getting into Cindric there. Who's drinking? Who's drinking Pepto-Bismol? Did you guys hear that? Who? I didn't hear who that was. Someone with stomach issues. That is wild. If I know anything about stomach issues and JGR drivers, Briscoe needs to evacuate his bowels right now. And he will get the win. It worked for Tony. It worked for Tony. Maybe Briscoe should try it. SVG. Coming in, dude. Dude, this may work out perfectly for Chastain, but Logano also staying out, it looks like. So Logano's going to order some... not order. Logano might get some stage points here. All right, SVG off pit road. He's blending now. I have a bug just flying around my face. It's driving me crazy. So Elliott looks like he's probably going to get around Chastain here. Let's see how hard he pushes here. Oh, yeah. Elliott easily made that pass. So as they run... Chastain is 6 points above the cut line. Briscoe 6 below. So that means Logano is in currently as they run. He must be just above Chastain. This bug would just land. I could kill it. It's flying too fast. It's too small. Come on, get him, Suarez. Disappointing for Bowman. Disappointing. Whatever strategy they're on, it's not good. I don't think they've had pace today either. Yeah, it would be wild, Briscoe missing out. He's had a great playoff run so far. I mean, second half of the season, he's ran very well. I believe he would be second in our full season points to Christopher Bell, maybe? We'll check that after the race. Hamlin falling back. Byron falling back. That's rough. That's rough. Byron just, and really Hendrick as a whole, hasn't had great pace lately. Chase got lucky last week, but outside of that, it's been kind of rough. Chase third there, though. Larson sixth. Ross getting 7 points. Logano getting 3 points. Briscoe back in 24th. So he has a lot of room to improve. You know, that's the thing about, you know, running really poorly, is you do have a lot of ground to, you know, gain. So if he can at least get to, you know, 15th, he would be back above the cut line, it looks like. All right. That is stage 2 in the books. As they run, Ryan Blaney P1, second, Tyler Reddick 3rd, Chase Elliott 4th, Ross Chastain 5th, Shane Van Gisbergen 6th, Kyle Larson 7th, Christopher Roval 8th, Joey Logano 9th, Daniel Suarez, and 10th, Cole Custer. Look back through the field. We have Chris Buescher 12th, AJ 13th, Michael McDowell 14th. 3, you know, what would be contenders if SVG didn't exist. Byron, one of our playoff guys, 22nd. Chase Briscoe, 24th. Bubba, 25th. Denny Hamlin, 26th. And Austin Cindric, 37th. Not a great day for our playoff guys. Ty running 17th. All right, I'll be right back, guys. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So under commercial here, we should have another cycle of pit stops here after we get back from this commercial break. And then probably another commercial cycle, and then we'll get back to our green flag racing. And without a crazy caution, you know, this could be a really long run here. And that would play right into SVG's hands. Man, Tyler Reddick has very long hair. That is crazy. Ross says he's playing Truck Simulator on a Switch with his steering wheel. That's crazy. I considered, like, I just want a game where I can drive highways. Just long distance road trips. Maybe, you know, running through cities. But a game like that doesn't really exist yet. Not for, you know, what I want to be doing specifically. You can have smaller versions. You know, they have, you know, roads you can drive on BeamNG. There's Euro Truck Simulator, stuff like that. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. All right, Denver getting the win over the Eagles. How about that? Truck Simulator do the NASCAR one? I don't think I've seen that. I need to know more. Because I would consider pulling out my steering wheel just to play some Truck Simulator. That might be fun. Even though I would probably want to buy a shifter. I can do NASCAR haulers. That's pretty cool. They're doing a hauler stream again. Do you guys remember the last hauler stream? I know you do, Doodlebug. They're doing the stream. I think it's going live at 9 Eastern. At least that's what it's scheduled for. And they're going to stream their hauler going from Charlotte to Las Vegas. So it should be pretty fun. Pretty fun. Hey, we're gonna be feeding the ducks for a long time. Yeah, I can't really watch a lot of Michael's streams because when he goes live, that's time I'm usually spending with my wife, and she's not gonna watch one of Michael's streams, so I can't catch him live. I just have to go back and watch afterwards. Either that or I'm live, you know? I hate when I'm live and I miss one of my favorite streamers. I do know Doodlebug. I am very, very aware of how she would react. She would just be on her phone. Yeah, I need to see if any of those games are worth playing. It's probably not the most engaging, like, content to stream, but I don't know. Sometimes I just like a slower pace kind of game to play. And that seems like it would be one. Maybe. You know, one thing, and some bigger streamers have experimented with this, starting new channels, and then they end up streaming to 2 people, if that. It's really hard to make a chat work with just a couple people. Yes, Michael does it. Michael also has hundreds of viewers, so that's a lot of interactivity. The chat can talk to themselves. They can also engage with Michael, give him, you know, topics to talk about. It's a lot easier to stream with people in the chat. If I was to stream Truck Simulator, I would probably have maybe 7 people in there. With like 1, maybe 2 people in chat. I don't know. Maybe we'll try it out and see. Maybe I'll be surprised. Michael's also just high energy himself. That's not really what I do. So American Truck Simulator is $5 right now, and Euro Truck Simulator 2 is $5 as well. So I could try it out. Probably rather do the American one, all right? Overwhelmingly positive. Arkansas, Missouri, Nebraska. See all their content for this game. Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Idaho, Utah, Washington, Oregon, New Mexico, Arizona, Louisiana. That'd be fun. South Dakota. Louisiana has not come out yet, sadly. Yes, you do have to pay for all the DLC. I was just looking at it. There's not a bundle right now that just has the map packs. If there was, I would look at that. But honestly, I may just want to try the game out and see if it's any good before I commit to DLC. What I would want, and the only reason I was even looking at this stuff, is the perfect game for me would be if they had like a Microsoft Flight Simulator, but if you were just driving. Like, that would be crazy. Just being able to drive through, you know, interstates, highways, even some cities here and there. With, you know, AI being as good as it is, someone will probably do it eventually. But we may be some years out from that. Imagine that, though. Being able to actually drive across the whole state. Does it say what the default states are? Let's see that. California, Nevada, Grand Canyon, state of Arizona. Yeah, I don't we may, if we do that, we may follow the street laws, but we may also just speed heavily. Police fines, they don't matter to me. I want to simulate the cannonball run. I want a game where I can do that. And not the crew. Don't tell me the crew. NASCAR stuff's in the workshop. All right, Logano as they run, 2 points above the cut line. Briscoe 22 points above the cut line. Chastain 2 below. I think Chastain's been faster than Joey. That's close. So Bell has locked himself in. Hamlin is 43 points above the cut line. Byron 41 above the cut line. So they're both safe. So this is going to come down to Briscoe, Joey Logano, and Ross Chastain, and then outside chance is Reddick winning. I heard that. Double A. We'll see if that comes into play. All right, move Bell into P2. Larson P3. Suarez is up there. Busher trying to make a move to the inside of Larson. Not able to make it stick there. Larson clear for third. Right now, as they run, Ross Chastain has the advantage. All right, Bell is close to SVG. I think SVG is just stalling for time, though. We'll see. All right, they're saying the pit window is 35 laps. I don't think so, Double A. Guys have been able to stay with SVG on the short run right after a restart, but after the tires start to wear, SVG has a clear advantage. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. Not on this. It's like SVG's probably not even pushing it right now. He's probably just running solid laps. Field's kind of stacked up behind him, though. It sure is. The field stacks up really closely on the exit of the Roval portion. All right, look at Bell. He's close. If SVG loses the lead here, like, that could be interesting. Woo! Spin him! Spin him! Bell moved him. Whoa, SVG aggressive. Very aggressive. Honestly, it looked kind of like SVG ran him off the track. He's not going to be pushed over. It's really close right now. If they're going to pounce, they need to do it now. I don't see them running him down late in the run. Bell was just taking all the wrong angles there in terms of which line he needed to be in. But they were the open lines. Yeah, SVG just ran him wide. That was odd. Didn't really give him much room there. Oh my goodness. We're going to have a caution. We'll see if Austin Dillon can get it refired. Austin Dillon's made some pretty heavy contact. There he goes. We're going to stay green. Oh, what? They threw the caution. He got it rolling, and they threw the caution. What is this race control? NASCAR once again being inconsistent. They waited. They waited. He got it refired, and then they threw the caution. Wild. Okay, I understand. I understand. They have to reset the tire barriers. They just did a replay angle of the wreck right before they went to a commercial. The tire barrier is all messed up, and they have to reset that. They can't have guys coming through and just hitting the wall. All right, that makes sense. NASCAR made the right call there, I guess. Was odd how long they waited, though. Well, we're going to have another restart. That should keep things pretty interesting. Where did I put my pin? I found a different pin under my PC and take some notes here. No clue where I put my other pin. It doesn't exist anymore. Hey, good to see you enter A. We'll see what they can do here on this restart. Does anyone, I highly doubt this, but does anyone know what lap Hocevar and Cindric got together? Lap 34. That would have been in stage 2. All right, I have my notes. We are up to date, ready for that race recap. It's going to be a short one. It's going to be a very short one. Unless we get a bunch of cautions here in this last race. Chargers up 10-0 on Talladega Day. I mean, on Talladega Day, Talladega is going to be my main focus until the NASCAR season ends. NASCAR is going to be my main focus in terms of the weekends. Although I may miss Martinsville race weekend. I briefly considered going out to the championship weekend in Phoenix because flights were really cheap and are really cheap out there, and hotels are not that expensive compared to other places. Phoenix isn't necessarily a vacation destination. All right, we're going green this time by. Mr. Spaceman, I wish YouTube had actual dual streaming capabilities like Twitch does. On Twitch, you can do like a multi-view if people are streaming together. That would be very cool. You're going to be in Nashville? Oh, yeah. That's interesting. That's where I propose, Mr. Spaceman. Don't do it. Don't do it. We can run away together, Mr. Spaceman. All right, Larson pressuring for second. He will clear for second. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. $5. 5 Benjamins right there. Not Benjamins. 5 Washingtons. I wish it was 5 Benjamins, but don't do that. Never do that. Yeah, I could do the Discord thing, yeah. Yeah, after the NASCAR season ends, we may look into that. If you want to cover some NFL stuff. That doesn't work for me, Mr. Spaceman. That's not going to work for me. Yeah, huge super chat there, King is Dead. Good to see you, man. You haven't missed too much. SVG's been doing his thing. We've really just had, I think, 1 caution for incident. It's the one we just had. The cup race started at 4 or 4:30. The race would probably end at night. Probably. I looked it up. The average duration of the Charlotte Roval Cup race is about 3 hours, give or take, you know, with cautions. The Happy Bros, How hates Bubba too. Who? Oh, who hates Bubba? I don't know if we have many Bubba haters here. Maybe some of the lurkers, because he does have a ton of haters, that's for sure. What is this race on? It's on USA. That's what should be done for 26. I don't think they want to go head to head with primetime NFL. Sunday Night Football does massive ratings. The truck race should definitely be at night. I have no clue why they ran it as early as they did. All right, Larson to the lead. Bell trying to go for the pass here. Let's see if he runs SVG wide here. SVG kind of ceded the position there with a little contact. So SVG back to third. Mr. Spaceman said Bubba and Gibbs are the only Toyota teams he supports. It's live on USA. All right. SVG is, you know, he's in a rough spot here. He's back here with the riffraff now. Allmendinger ran wide there. Not going to be able to pressure here. Yeah, I guess you can watch the in-car cameras on HBO. That's right. It's a shame. They used to offer that for free. In-car cameras were free on NASCAR.com. And now it's behind a paywall. NASCAR.com used to have so many more features. Race View. That was fun stuff. Race Buddy. All right, Allmendinger is falling back. He's a second off of SVG. Yeah, Ross and Joey, they're running pretty close in points. Ross in 12th. Earlier, he had top 10 speed. I guess he still does. Running faster than the 7th place driver. But he needs to gain a few more spots here. HBO Max is like $100 a year or something absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it's about the same price as a lot of streaming services. The thing is, you know, if you're watching it just for NASCAR, the NASCAR season runs like 10 months out of the year. So, you know, you're basically paying for a yearly at that point. And sometimes you can save money if you just buy the annual subscription. No, Byron has not had pace today. It's been a very bad day, but he's safe on points. Not really sure what that team's been doing lately. Bowman 17. That's kind of the highest he's been today. Not a great day for Bowman either. Blaney back to 18th. He was running better earlier in the race. Logano up to 16th. Chase Elliott 15th. Hamlin 14th. That's kind of the highest he's ran as well. Reddick down to 13th. And up towards the front, Chase Briscoe doing what he needs to do up inside the top 10. McDowell in 5th. He's been running around 5th the whole race. Some contact between the 35 and the 8. And the 35 eventually being turned. How about that? Kyle Busch not going to take no for an answer. He's what, at least 8 laps down? Yeah, 8 laps down. Shoving people around for no reason. I saw that Doodlebug. I saw their last 2D movie. The one about the aliens and the gum and the mind control and all that. The asteroid. I forget what the name of that movie was. Kind of crazy. It was just Daffy and Porky Pig. You know, Bugs wasn't involved. Yeah, Bush, he does not care. 8 laps down, he's just spinning people for fun. Hey, might as well, you know, bring back his villain arc. Maybe he'll start running competitive again. Bush needs to see how many people he can spin before NASCAR parks him, because he has nothing to lose at this point. Good job, Kyle. Good job, Kyle. Just drive through him. That's good stuff. Good stuff. He got him sideways and just stayed in the gas. That was awesome. Kyle Larson's still leading. SVG holding on, though. This is interesting. He should turn him. Kyle should replace Riley Herbst at 2311. But that team may not exist next year. We'll see what happens. I think the best thing NASCAR could do is just try to throw the lawsuit out and let 2311 keep their charters. Just pretend the whole thing didn't happen. Because if they kick Michael Jordan out of the sport, it's going to be not a good look. Kind of crazy to me more teams didn't make a big deal about the whole charter agreement, though, because Jeff Gordon's, you know, been very open about how Hendrick Motorsports, you know, one of the most successful teams in the NASCAR Cup Series, loses money. You know, they can't make money with the way earnings are given out nowadays. They need some of that TV money the tracks get. So Larson pulling a pretty good lead here. You know, not as large as SVG's leads were, but a little more comfortable than having a guy ride on your back. Yeah, lap 6, 7. Well, now we're on lap 6 and 9. So we're over halfway now. Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, AA. Like, they're okay, you know, making pennies while NASCAR pulls in big TV money and gives most of it to the tracks when the tracks should be generating their money from people at the track. The reason they like the charters is, you know, they get guaranteed money. You know, they can count on it instead of having to depend on your performance. Yeah, Tyler Reddick has to win to make it. Unless one of these guys wrecked in front of him. All right, Allmendinger down. Brad Keselowski right behind him. So 2 cars on pit road currently. Here we go again. Bowman down. So we might see some guys try to 2-stop this. And we may see some teams try to 3-stop it. My stream froze. But only on my MacBook. Yeah, the guys that stayed out that first stage, they will have that extra set, which could be useful. There is a a decent amount of fall off here. They start out running about 88 flats, a little above 88 seconds, and then they end up running around 91 seconds to 92 seconds. So there definitely is an advantage to be gained on fresh tires. So if the cautions fell just right, Reddick could benefit. I think Briscoe's down on pit road. Yes, Briscoe is on pit road. They said, oh, we're going to do an onboard with Tyler Reddick. And they just show Briscoe pitting. That was awkward. Somebody in the production truck didn't get the memo. All right, Christopher Bell on pit road. King's Dad says Cindric's going to come back and win the race. Yeah, I don't see it, but, good luck with that. Take a look back through our field here. So Bowman just pit, so he's back. Riley Herbst having to spin. 90-second laps would probably also pit recently. Kyle Busch 9 laps down now. Larson holding the lead right now. It seems like they made an adjustment with Shane Van Gisbergen's car that wasn't to his liking. So they may try an air pressure adjustment, maybe some kind of a wedge adjustment when they come back down pit road. And maybe they can get the balance back to his liking. Even though I'm okay with him not being in the lead. All right, Kyle Larson on pit road. SVG staying out. This extra lap, this may benefit Larson a bit. Unless Shane Van Gisbergen can just run a stellar lap here. 92nd lap this last time by. And Larson off. Man, Larson just got out way ahead of Christopher Bell. Not even close right now. All right, SVG, is he coming down this time by? Or will he run long here? Try to save some tires. I smell food. Or I'm having a stroke. Probably just food. All right, SVG coming down pit road. Yeah. Chastain on and off pit road. Logano currently on pit road. Logano issues on pit road. Let's see where it is. Right front. Right, as they run, Larson is in the lead once more. My leaderboard just has not updated yet. While we're under commercial, though, let's see if we can find a replay of one of the last two incidents. No replay posted of Dylan's wreck or Herf's going around. NASCAR is kind of slacking on posting today. There's a cloud? You think there's a cloud? There was a 10% chance of rain. That would be crazy. Just a brief rain shower. Guys, you know, staying out on slicks. Guys coming in for rain tires. Let me go over to Charlotte on my radar and see what it's looking like. Oh, what are you doing? Not really seen anything around Charlotte. It's kind of a radar hole, though. There's not a lot of radar coverage here around Concord. There is one, but it's dead. Yeah, I'm not seeing much around on the radar. All right, Bubba trying to make a pass on Logano here. Logano back running in 22nd right now. Yeah, I've seen the cloud, Doodlebug. I know what you're talking about. It definitely is a darker cloud. This doesn't look like it has any rain to it right now. I use Radar Omega. There are some free radar apps that are decent enough, but I like the spotter cams that Radar Omega includes. And I just have learned how to use the app now. Weatherwise, a lot of people have swapped to Weatherwise. A lot of people. For a while, you know, Radar Omega was sponsoring everyone, working with all the big weather streamers and storm chasers. And now a lot of them have switched to Weatherwise. But I mean, I already paid money for Omega, so I'm staying. I almost had the bug. Almost had it. Whew. Weather apps are pointless in Dallas. I mean, you could do that just about anywhere, but I mean, especially just being in the southern United States. I mean, really just, you can say this for a lot of the United States, but very much the southern United States. You can have different weather based on 15 minutes, you know? It can be pouring with lightning, and 15 minutes later, it could be a sunny day. And just humid. Yeah, hot or rain. That's kind of the two modes, yeah. Although last winter was crazy. New Orleans getting snow. You know, there's snow on the beach. That was wild. Not really looking forward to the winter. And everything dies. The nights get longer. Just a very dull time. Double A thinks it's going to be an up and down winter. We'll see. If winter had decent amounts of daylight, I wouldn't be so negative against it. I just can't stand leaving work and it's already dark outside. Or at least getting dark, you know, like an hour after. That's awful. No time to go do anything. No time to go walk trails. No time to go fishing. No, none of that. You can like the dark all you want, but the dark is not good. You know, you don't hear people getting stabbed in well-lit alleyways. You hear about them getting stabbed in dark alleyways. There's a reason for that. Yeah, double A. That's how it goes. You know, you get off work around 5 or later, and, you know, it's dark out and depressing. I used to go in at 5 sometimes, and I would leave after 5. And so I would go in, it's dark. I would leave work, and it's dark. I got one of the bugs. I hope that's the only one. I'm sure another one will... Yeah, there's another one right now. I kill one, they respawn. That's the one thing about the winter that I love, is the bugs dying off. Yeah. That kills me. It's really annoying, you know, going to, let's say you go to the store at 7, even 8 during the summer. It's sunny outside. You still have daylight. You go at the same time in the winter and it's pitch black. It looks like midnight. And it affects my sleep cycle so much. When it starts getting darker earlier, I get tired earlier. Takes me a long time to adjust. All right, we're back from commercial, and I am back as well. 29 laps to go. Larson's still out front, a 3.5-second advantage. Bell in third. Allmendinger running 6th. Michael McDowell 7th. Reddick in 9th currently, and Chastain 13th. Joey running 18th currently. So he's moved up a few positions. As they run, Chastain is 2 points above the cut line. Chastain's going to have to finish in or around the top 5 to be safe. Logano, I just feel like he's going to move up. He hasn't been very fast all day, but there he goes. He just gained another point. Keep an eye on that battle. Very close in the cut line. SVG has cut 7/10 off of the lead. He's running him back down. Possibly. He's already cut 4/10 now. In one lap, he's cut 4/10 on Larson. SVG's car is coming on strong right now. So looking at the lap times here, we have an 89.3 that last lap versus an 88.2. SVG's flying right now. All right, Reddick down pit road. Keselowski on pit road. Buescher on pit road. Buescher actually already made his stop with a 9.1 second stop for 4 tires. Keselowski's stop clocked at... It's still going. There's no way he's still on pit road. Did they mess up Keselowski's timer, or did he really just turn a 21-second pit stop? If that was a 21-second stop, they ruined his race. Yeah, I like the short pit idea for sure. It's just really hard to beat SVG in the long run, so the one way to combat that is to try to get fresh rubber on the car. Larson can't lose the lead here. SVG's pit crew has been very good lately. Very consistent. The SMT data is so stupid. Being able to see exactly when a competitor is braking, what their line is, they need to get rid of that. They can keep it for the team's use, but the competitors shouldn't be able to see each other's SMT data. It gives away like the tricks of the trade. Like if you learn a way around a track that's faster, all people have to do is look at your data and try to replicate it. You know, that's still challenging, but it's silly. Imagine in the NFL, like before they play a game, you get to see your competitor's playbook. Just like, oh, okay, yeah, I see exactly what you're doing. It's kind of what they're doing here with the SMT data. All right, Bell down pit road. I like this. Coming down early. See if he can gain some time here. Because he had definitely fallen back from this battle at the front. Briscoe down. Ty Gibbs down. So it looks like the JGR cars are making their stops here. They're running a similar strategy, it looks like. Hamlet's back in 14th. I'm not sure if he feels the need to stop or if he already has. I guess he probably already has, running a 90.4. He may have already pit. We'll see. Letarte thinks Bell could have a loose wheel. We'll see what happens here. Someone said Busch should retire. Herbst shouldn't even be in the Cup Series. So, you know, at least Kyle has proven he can get it done with good equipment. Herbst has good equipment, and he still can't get it done. Jason Switzer said he's back. The grilled chicken nuggets with the Subway sweet onion teriyaki sauce is a game changer. And his fiance Trisha says hello to everyone. Well, hello from us to Trisha. Sounds good. Sweet onion teriyaki sauce. That kind of sounds like mixing sweet and sour and teriyaki, which I could definitely see the appeal of. That's interesting. That is exactly right, Double A. That's exactly my problem with him. He didn't even do well in the Xfinity Series. You know, he didn't show me he could win in the Xfinity Series. Like, I think he, won a race? With monster support in the Xfinity Series, you know, he couldn't even run very competitive consistently. Like, if you're not lighting up the Xfinity Series, that just tells me you're not ready to be a Cup competitor. Yeah, it wasn't many. Especially compared to guys like Gragson and Ty Gibbs that won a ton of Cup races, and they still have had a hard time adjusting to the Cup Series. So, you know, what does that spell for Herbst? Not great. Just a pay driver. Taking up a good ride, too. So, you know, somebody else could be there. Should probably be Corey Haim's car. Doodlebug, I think you misunderstood me. You know what I'm trying to say. Always nitpicking me, Doodlebug. Always. I will never let this go, Doodlebug. You called SVG an Australian. I'll die on this hill. Yeah, I mean, Haim would be a good replacement for Denny. But Haim needs to find out where he's racing next year. Because he can win all the races he wants. If he can't bring sponsors, you know, that's an issue. That's a really big issue. You have the guy that's winning double-digit races and one. No, SVG is not Australian. The announcers have said it. Doodlebug said it. I don't have to imagine that, Doodlebug. I'm going to do that. That's right, Tiberium Media Entertainment. People can say it as many times as they want. It doesn't mean he's from Australia. Even after SVG had been racing for 2 years, this season, the announcers were still saying he was from Australia. That's just sad. And I know, like, New Zealand is, a much smaller country, and, people may not think of them as much. And some people think New Zealand doesn't even exist, so if you're one of those people, maybe that explains why you think SVG is Australian. Don't push me. Don't push me. You're just trying to troll. I know. I know what you are. All right, the field's in trouble. SVG got back to the front. He excels at these long runs. What the field needs right now is for Kyle Busch to wreck. That's what he did at Kansas. And it turned that race around. I think we need a Kyle Busch sacrifice. 9 laps down, nothing to lose. All right, our leaders have hit pit road, it looks like. Oh no, did the leaderboard just freak out? It looked like they had hit pit road. But no. Now Larson's down pit road. SVG's still on track. I don't know what happened to the leaderboard there for a second. Sometimes it does get a bit confused on these road courses. All right, Larson back out on track. Refresh this feed. There we go. Ross Chastain penalty. This could be season killing. What time does Vegas start next week? Would I go to Hawaii? It's a long flight, just for some islands. Guy I used to work with, he grew up in Hawaii and lived there a couple times later throughout his life. Served in Vietnam, 5 tours. All right, Keselowski, no power, off track. So as they run, Chastain is 4 points below the cut line now. Chastain scored 22nd currently. He should be able to move his way forward. Running out of time, though. SVG on pit road. So Larson, he needs to get as much of an advantage as he can here. Uh-oh. Gonna be a slow stop or a slow entry for SVG. SVG is gonna come out with fresher tires. Yeah, I mean, Reddick was so far back, it wasn't going to help very much. 4:30 Central. Yeah, that's kind of late, but it is not necessarily a West Coast race, but it is out in that time zone. So I guess that explains the later start. So we'll slow down SVG just a little bit on that pit entry. Austin Dillon almost taking him out. So the gap is only 3 seconds. SVG is going to have fresher tires. He's faster on the long run. Without a caution, I don't know if these guys can hold him off. Chastain now 5 points below the cut line. Reddick 9 points below. It's crazy. Cindric is a road course racer. And he needed to win here. He had to win here to advance. And he's going to finish, what, dead last? That's rough. Am I excited for Talladega? Yeah, I mean, it should be a fun weekend, a triple header. I'm excited for the triple headers we have coming up. Talladega, Martinsville, and Phoenix. Should be fun. And Vegas, hopefully that'll be a good race. You know, it's another 1.5 miles. Might see some aero blocking, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Oh, great. Stream's lagging now. And Hendrick Motorsports is right there. That's crazy. Didn't realize it was so close. SVG is already running them down. These guys are in trouble. The race has been pretty clean so far, so I mean... And it takes a lot to bring out a caution here. Yeah, I'm sure Talladega will be interesting. A lot of guys pushing pretty hard. You know, we'll see. You know, if when someone gets involved in the big one, it could take them out for the season. But I think they're going to be saving fuel quite a bit. Probably 3 wide saving fuel. What are we doing, USA? Their website's just been lagging randomly. All right, 16 laps to go. Larson still has the lead. 2.2 seconds back. A second off of Christopher Bell. Buescher 4 seconds back. Running decent times. But he's about a second off the pace of our leaders. So I wonder what... I think he may have been one of the first ones to pit. One of the earlier ones, at least. His times have definitely fallen off quite a bit. Michael McDowell running an 88.4. It's about the same as what SVG ran. Uh-oh. Take a look at this. 89. 89. SVG scored 88.4. Our leaders are in trouble. Yeah, SVG is pushing on Bell right now. Bell is sunk. It's, oh, yeah. Yeah, SVG making the pass right now on Christopher Bell. That's it. And we're looking at a couple laps, and SVG will be threatening on Larson's heels. Another SVG win right here. That's what we're looking at without a caution. Makes me sick. No one has anything for him. I mean, we're looking at dominance right here. It'll be interesting to see if the rest of the field can catch up. Chastain 5 points below the cut line still. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Zilich adapts to the next-gen car. You know, we talked about it a little earlier. You know, Gragson didn't really adapt very well. Neither is Ty Gibbs. So, hopefully, Zilich doesn't have the same difficulties adapting. And also, it'll be interesting to see if Trackhouse can give him a solid car. All right, SVG trying to make the pass here. Tons of contact. It's just a matter of time. Turn him, Kyle. Turn him. A lot of contact. A lot of contact. Using him up here. Ty Dillon passing. Ty Dillon for the win. Go, Ty, go. Ty Dillon is our winner. What? Like... Larson's really pushing it here. Hard. Yeah, Gregson. Well, I mean, SHR should have been good equipment. We saw what Harvick was able to do with it, but SHR fell off kind of around the time Gregson got there. So yeah, I think you're right about that. Now he's with FRM. But I mean, races like the Chicago Street Course, he's just embarrassed himself. Yeah, Larson back to the lead. He was very... Dude, if SVG gets back to the lead, Larson might get wrecked. SVG is going to push really hard here. There he goes. Dive bombing Bell. Bell's rear tires aren't hooking up on corner exit. Be interesting to see if Kyle cedes the position normally or if they make more contact. It's just crazy how none of these guys have figured out how SVG gets into the corners so much better yet, even with the SMT data. Like, is he downshifting at a different time? Like, how is he making this work? Just more effective trail braking? I mean, who's going to crack the code first? Getting close to 10 laps to go. Come on. Stream just froze again. All right, Bell down pit road. This is a good call. This is a good call. If there's a caution, Bell will be in the catbird seat possibly. Yes, yes. Where's caution Hocevar? I'm saying we need Kyle Busch to take one for the team. All right, SVG diving in there pretty heavy. So SVG through to the lead. Larson just doesn't have anything for him. Not in the long run. Come on, Cody Ware. You have a chance to do the funniest thing right now. Chastain making a pass on Logano. A lot of guys making passes on the exit of the infield portion. A lot of guys making passes there. Come on. Froze again. USA's website sucks. Yeah, Ross 2 points below the cut line. He's running out of time. Logano going down pit road, taking the gamble. This is going to put Chastain in. So Chastain looks like he's banking on a caution here. I think you may be right. I like this call. It worked out for Sammy Smith yesterday. It's just, it takes a lot to bring out a caution here. I don't know if we're going to get one. And without a caution, none of these guys have a shot to run down SVG. Blaney clearing Chastain. So drop Chastain back to 13th. Reddick running 7th. He does have our Xfinity fastest lap, but that 1 point is not going to save him here. So Bell on fresh tires, only running half a second faster than our leader. And then look at the gap between SVG and Larson. Almost a full second. That's tough. So a reminder, after the race, we will be doing our live coverage. I'll have to update that. That'll be on our post-race show. It should automatically transfer everyone over after this stream ends. And we're going to have a pretty short race recap. So if you guys want to call in, we have plenty of time, it looks like. He may have there. And Larson's down pit road. I mean, Larson's already locked in. He has nothing to lose. Might as well bank on a caution here. Maybe Larson can make his own caution. Just spin somebody. I would not advise that, but Kevin Harvick would do it. And Kevin Harvick is a NASCAR champion. They just, okay, coming back from commercial, they just said Logano not happy. Not happy with what? Well, Larson should have come down a long time ago. Shane Van Road course. SVRC. So SVG claiming feels like his right rear is coming apart. That's what he's claiming. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. That's the only thing that can save us. A tire failure, which I don't think we've seen any of this race, so. Bell's, you know, he's running a little faster than the leader, but not catch up fast, you know. Larson running 90-second laps currently. So Joey frustrated with lap traffic, sounds like. Javier says NASCAR needs to ban Penske for sabotaging the playoffs. All right, Logano 8 points below the cut line as they run. Kyle Larson back into third. SVG's got this. Without a caution, it's over. Chastain using up Barry. This is not wise. That was not wise. Logano free falling. This is going to tighten the interval between Logano and Chastain. Just free falling right now. SVG is limping it around the track right now. I mean, that's still a decent enough lap time for this late in the run. But you can tell he's kind of letting off a bit. Sounds like he's going to take it easy on that right rear until the end of the race. But he has plenty of time to give up. Plenty of time. All right, only 4 points separate Chastain and Logano. It's close. This is going to be decided by a matter of just a couple points, it looks like. $89.4. Might Logano wreck somebody? 3 points. 3 points separates it. Let's get Ross. Denny, so it's about a 5-second interval. Really 6. So that's a lot of ground for Ross to lose. Joey, 22nd. 4 seconds back from Todd. Chastain's lost quite a bit of ground here. Went from 6 seconds to 4, like that. Kyle Larson's running the best laps right now, but it's all for nothing here. Looks like Larson may be threatening for second position. Not like this matters. You know, they're both locked in. SVG's not in the playoffs anymore, you know, so he's out of contention. Yeah, Byron salvaging a finish, looks like, but he may lose a couple positions here if he doesn't pick it up. Let's see what he's running, a 91. Tyler Rick's running an 89. 2 seconds better. So Byron might draw back a little bit. But, I mean, after a pretty mediocre day, you know, 11th isn't too bad. Not championship caliber, though. The last time we were at Vegas, wasn't it Bell that won? Logano won at Vegas? I guess I thought it was during the West Coast swing. So, you know, Bell got the first 3 after the 500. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Atlanta. Okay. Yeah, Atlanta, Coda, and Phoenix. And the next week was Vegas. That's right. Yeah, what a weird schedule. All right, that's right. White flag, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
White flag, 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank.
1 point. 1 point between Logano and Chastain. SVG is about to win this thing with a flat tire. Remember, Logano has the tiebreaker. Chastain cannot lose this position. Denny Hamlin's about to knock Chastain out of the playoffs and keep Logano in. SVG coming around the final chicane and sliding it across the start-finish line. Had enough rubber to do that. Now Hamlin needs to play some strategy here. He won't because, he's a jerk. But would he rather race Chastain over these next 3 races, or would he rather race Logano? Chastain just lost it. Unless he knocks Denny out. Denny might wreck him. Not Denny. Ross might wreck him if he has the chance. He's too far back. Yeah, I would rather race Chastain. Why would you intentionally let Logano into the round that has Martinsville? Like, are you stupid? Logano's in right now. Chastain would have to dive bomb. It's over. It's over. He took him out. It's over. He finished backwards. That's hilarious. What an idiot. Denny Hamlin's an idiot. He just let Logano into the round with, like you said, Vegas. Penske's pretty good there. And Martinsville. Denny deserves every bit of that. He is so stupid. I would much rather race Chastain over these next 3 races than Logano. Logano is very good at Martinsville. And Penske's looked very good at the flat tracks, so they look really good at Phoenix. That's 2 weeks in a row Denny has messed himself up. 2 weeks in a row. And this may decide his season. If Denny loses the championship to Logano, it's going to be hilarious. And, the playoff defenders will say, oh, without the playoffs, this would not have been interesting. You're going to see a lot of that this week. The playoff defenders will be out and about. Oh, it was only dramatic because of the battle for the cut line. They show that stat. SVG having 5 road course wins in a row. Jeff Gordon having 6 in a row. Even if SVG breaks that record, it's not impressive to me. Because Jeff got it done when they only had 2 road courses a year. So he did it, 3 years in a row, at least. Probably spanning over 4 years, to be honest. But, I mean, just completely different eras of NASCAR. And you have the opportunity to do it. This car was pretty much hand designed, hand built for SVG with his supercar experience. Imagine we only had 2 like we do now. Over the course of 3 to 4 years, somebody would upset SVG. That's the race, ladies and gents. Chastain missing the playoffs by 4 points. Denny is so stupid. He really let Logano into this next round. Yeah, I mean, with Vegas getting in, or Vegas in this next round, they're good there. It's home track pretty much for his sponsor. They're always sponsoring the Vegas races earlier in the year. I think this next one's by High Point, but yes, hand build for SVG. SVG himself has explained that this next gen car race is very similar to the supercar that he came from. Byron gonna win the Byron needs to run better. He's been pretty weak. All right, ladies and gents, thank you for joining. We are going to end this stream. You don't have to go anywhere. It should automatically transfer you over to our post-race coverage. So hope to see you guys